Hey, this is James Lavelle from Unkle, and you're watching Toasted.
Welcome to Amsterdam, James.
Oh, thank you.
You're doing press all day. You look still pretty healthy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm starting to fade a little bit, but I'm all right. I'm getting there. I'll be all right on the nights.
Just our luck to have you as our last bugging journalist. Hey, a new album. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic album again.
Thanks.
It's always good news. A new Unkle album.
Yeah, no, I'm glad it's finally going out into the world. It's a strange thing when you've worked on something for a period of time and then you'll sort of go through your period of anxiety waiting for it to come out, which is right now, but it's about 2 weeks or so, I think, and it will be, your child will leave home.
Do you still, I mean, you're still very much, you brought up in the music industry. Do you still like it actually? You must be, because this is your 10th year.
So I like the music industry.
Yeah, because you do promo, you do videos.
Longer than my 20th year in the music industry.
Shit.
Yeah. Do I like the music industry? No, I despise the music industry, but I like making records. I don't despise the music industry, but I don't like the music industry particularly.
So why are you in it for 20 years? You made a mistake.
Because I separate. There's a difference between making music and being a musician and an artist and being in the music industry, and there are different labels and companies that exist in the same way. Some of those are artistic and music-orientated companies, and other companies are corporate industry. And so I don't exist within the MTV, necessarily the kind of pop radio, corporate music industry. I'm not part of that, and I don't enjoy that place particularly.
But it's so good that you say that, because it looks to me that you do the stuff that you like.
Yeah.
Yet you're really, and you don't compromise. Your stuff is out there, and it can be really extreme as well, music-wise and video-wise as well. And well, you do multiple styles of art, so but it's always extreme. Yet you're very popular. That's you laugh, but I mean it's not easy, right?
Wow. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I think that
to work with the biggest artists, your music is all over the place.
Great. I'm very lucky. I get to work with amazing people, and most of those artists share that similar ideal that they're artists, they're musicians, I just think that for me what was where I came from with them in the music business to where it is now is a very different place, and I just don't feel very part of that world, but I am, as many musicians and many artists are, you do it because that's what you do, that's part of that's who you are, and I will exist hopefully with whether there is a music industry or not.
It sounds like the best job in the world. I've been delving into your history, of course, and we've been following your music on our site for 10 years now, as long as we exist actually. So it sounds like the best job in the world. Do the stuff that you like and create great art.
Yeah, no, it is the best job in the world, absolutely. But it is also a job. And that's when it all becomes, that's when the lines start getting difficult, when, it's amazing creating and being an artist, and it's quite a duality of extremes, because you're faced with the same realities of that any person is, of that you have to feed your family and you have to, deal with the economics of your situation, and that becomes at time there are moments where you are torn between what you do, because you have to fulfill and deal with things sometimes with something that you hold and you look at as such a beautiful thing, and how you retain that.
You started working on this new album a year ago, right? In January 2009?
We kind of started it the not last August, but the August before, and then spent we spent all of last year up until February this year.
And how does it work? Because I mean, you're into collaborations.
You could tell me. You know what? You tell me, because I have no idea how it works. It really
just evolves. Chris Goss calls you, and he.
Well, there's sometimes I call somebody, sometimes they call me, sometimes you're in a bar and you just bump into somebody and.
But you don't think like this song, it would be great if this song I would have this singer or.
Yeah, there's moments where you go, wouldn't it be great to have this person on a track? There's other times where you know that it is, you've already written something specifically for somebody. There are times where you've written it for yourself, or there's more of a kind of core of people that we work with, and I suppose it's a more kind of slightly more band aesthetic with Gavin and Joel and Big in Japan and myself. So there's every song kind of evolves in quite a different, unique way.
A lot of people on your new album, right?
There are a few people on the record, but there's always a few people on the records. I mean, I don't think it's particularly that much different than before. I think it's actually slightly more focused on this record in many ways. It's kind of split between what we do and then this collaborative element of people we work with from other bands. On this record we have Katrina Ford from Celebration, we have Black Angels, Mark Lanigan, Sleepy Sun.
Who is LJ?
LJ, she's in a band called the Dark Horses. She was touring with us quite a lot last year.
It's an amazing voice, because what I like about this record is maybe it's not that star-studded as with the Ian Browns and the Radioheads, but it's a trip through music that and singers that I really didn't know, but now I got to know, and I was listening to their music as well, and it's really.
It's been. I think there's definitely an idea of it would be good to work with some more up and coming bands, but don't forget when we did Science Fiction, Radiohead were still an up-and-coming band, and so were The Verve, and so was Badly Drawn Boys. So it was only circumstance that changed that, and it wasn't a bad circumstance in the end. Worked with three of the most important artists of that decade. So,
and you sniggered when I told you were massively successful, right?
Well, it depends on how you view success. So
creative success.
Creatively, I think I've managed to be very successful. Yeah. Emotional disaster.
Hey, I've been delving through your new album. First of all, who did this artwork? It must be promo copy right now, but is this artwork that people can buy actually?
This will be in the artwork. This is a promo. But these shots are in the artwork. It has been art directed by Warren Dupree, Nick Thornton Jones, who are a sort of creative partnership where it's photography based, and myself and Ben Drury, who's done all of the Unkle records to date. Yeah, and it's photographic. We wanted to do something photographic, but it has a graphic feel, especially when you see the more limited edition versions of the album, which are all on silver mirror board. So it's with like a heavy black print. So it's kind of got a Andy Warhol index book era kind of. There's a, it's definitely the images have a psychedelic quality about them. There's a feminine quality, and it was just great shooting naked models.
Yeah, well, there's also a feminine quality on this album because you have a lot of female singers.
Yeah, for the first time.
Really, yeah.
The boys threw the toys out the pram and. I think that's what it is. The last three records are boys with toys, and this is like discovering women again.
It's an amazing.
Adolescence, and we're discovering the beauty of the feminine quality, and
it is a kind of psychedelic album. I think what I hear out of it is even LJ's voice is a bit like Sushi Sue sometimes. Even the Mark Lanigan song is a bit trippy, though his voice is really like more folkish. I never heard him like that before. And there's a Jesus Mary chain kind of fuzz all across the album. Yeah. Am I wrong there?
No. I think you're definitely on the right tip.
Is that also how you work? Like, I want this vibe. Like, I like that music. I want this vibe.
I mean, it's very collagic, and me and Pablo and James, who works on the record with us, you're just kind of throwing in your musical references, and we have especially me and Pablo have a certain kind of language, our own sort of Spanglish kind of. It's like samplish, I think is what it is. It's like comes from sampling culture. So we kind of reference certain beats and records and periods of time. It's hard to explain, but yes, we can communicate amazingly enough in the studio and make weird records. I'm losing my train of thought, sorry.
Hey, I read that you used to be a resident in Fabric. Are you still?
No, I'm not a resident anymore. I did 5 years time. I did my national service. I've done my national service to the club industry of England. I should be awarded a fucking gold medal for seriously, MBA, for services rendered to the British club industry. Yeah, I was a resident for 5 years at Fabric every Friday night, 3 till 5.
You moved the country.
It was a very good time, but it was a very long weekend.
I can
It
imagine.
was a 5-year weekend. So John Lennon, eat your heart out.
What happened in that weekend?
Can't fucking remember.
Hey, are you actually done with the dance scene? Is it more?
No. I'm far from done with it. I love it. I just it's just weird. I think right now I've kind of reached a certain point, and there's a big change in what's going on with dance music. There's also there's a kind of very solid upper guard, which you have quite a strong hold of over here, I must say, in Holland. And then
Are there any Dutch DJs you like actually?
I totally respect a lot of DJs, and
You like them?
I don't know if you know what, I haven't seen that many DJs as late, and I've never gone to a Tiesto concert or a Van Buren concert, but Van Buren's played my record, so I totally respect him, and I really like. I actually played a Tiesto record recently, which I was quite. I don't mean it in any negative way. It's I think there's always. I respect what those people do, but I was never somebody that was particularly that into trance. But like all music, there's always elements of things that are that are good. And I really like that record he's just done with Jonze from Sigur Rós. I think it's a great track, and it's a great closing. In a certain environment, a certain mood, with a certain kind of feeling, that's a great record to play. I really, what I admire about the scene is it's. In like Germany, it's kind of Holland's retained its own kind of respect and dignity and its support of this of club culture, and I think that's a really admirable thing. And there's some great music that's come out of this country over the years. And
You were always more into hip hop and street.
no,
culture.
I was into everything. I mean, I grew up on hip hop, but when it's funny when you talk about grow up. I mean, you're talking about a very small period of time in a long career. That fundamental 2 years when you're 12 to 14 that was your kind of elitist moment. Yeah. And from then it was acid house. It was them going into the whole sort of rave era, I suppose, and so I've known people like and seen people like Carl Cox since I was 14 years old. Sasha, people like that. I mean, they were the kind of part of my culture. Fabio, Groove Rider, through to Giles Peterson, through to Tim Westwood. But the people that really inspired me to want to do what I did were people like Soul to Soul, The Wild Bunch, DJ Red Alert, Tim Westwood. It came from more of a hip-hop culture. But really, house music hadn't quite found its voice in Europe at that time. And it started really coming through like 80, 87, 88 was really when it started happening. And, I was listening to hip-hop since I was, 8, 9 years old. So, but so no, I have always loved, a very, that was what I always felt was great about working with Giles Peterson when I did, was that we were able to play such an eclectic array of music, which didn't really exist in anywhere else in club culture at that time, So we were playing, when we were doing Bar Rumba, and it was the kind of beginning of Mowax, you'd be playing DJ Shadow, you'd be playing Josh Wink, Higher State of Consciousness, you'd be playing Carl Craig, Richie Hawtin, and you'd also be playing Etta James and Terry Callier and John Coltrane. So
the mix was so unique for Mowax.
yeah.
I mean, that's
and that came across in what we did with the label, and working with a record like Le Funk Mob, which was a Parisian pre sort of Daft Punk house sound that came out of Paris, but then you also had Carl Craig and Richie Hawtin remixing.
It was in the period when you could blindly buy anything from Mowax.
Yeah.
And every once in a while you have a label that pops up and has that.
Yeah.
But they always disappear.
Yeah, I think I've been trying to think about why, and losing the death of Mowax was a very sad, heavy, traumatic experience for me, and in many ways I just walked away because I couldn't deal with it. But I think in retrospect I kind of look at it like a band, really. And I think a lot of those labels are like bands. And unless you're prepared to then take it to the next step where you want to become a commercial entity which doesn't really necessarily stand for a specific taste, then it tends to reach a plateau. and the band split up. You know, once you know I'm not working with Shadow and Tim's gone to do DFA, and all these things had split up. It kind of was like the band had split up.